Okay, so I purchased what I thought was Billy Collins' latest book of poetry, and actually, this is just the 2010 Random House paperback edition. The actual copyright of his volume called Ballistics came out in 2008, so I'll have to take a look to see if he's come out with anything sooner. I remember reading some critics talking about his poetry changing a little bit over time. I know in his book, The Trouble with Poetry, he was starting to write more and more about poetry, which is okay. I mean, it's one of those arts. When you're a bird watcher, sometimes you got to talk to other bird watchers. But what struck me about this book is so many of the poems are about writing poems. Um, it's almost as if this brilliant man is disintegrating into just doing something about doing something. Um, Sometimes when you're a bird watcher and naturalist, you also want to talk to other people who aren't and get some of your thoughts out there and maybe inspire some people to fall in love with the natural world in a way that will inspire them to do new things of their own. But in all fairness, Billy has been through a rough time. Apparently went through divorce because many of the poems here also concern themselves with divorce. Um, so I want to do a couple of readings from this. I'm not going to read Ballistics because he did such a great job of reading that. I think it's in the Dodge Poetry Festival. You could probably look it up here on YouTube. Uh, but this one is definitely about divorce, and I love it a lot. It's called Scenes from Hell. No, Scenes of Hell. We did not have the benefit of a guide, no crone to lead us off the common path, no ancient to point the way with a staff. But there were badlands to cross, rivers of fire and blackened peaks, and eventually we could look down and see the jeweler running around a gold ring, the boss trapped in an hourglass, the baker buried up to his eyes in flour, the banker plummeting on a coin, the teacher disappearing into a blackboard, and the grocer silent under a pyramid of vegetables. We saw the pilot nose-diving and the whore impaled on a bedpost, the pharmacist wandering in a stupor, and the child with toy wheels for legs. You pointed to the soldier who was dancing with his empty uniform. And I remarked on the blind tourist, but what truly caught our attention was the scene in the long mirror of ice, you lighting the wick on your head, me blowing on the final spark, and our children trying to crawl away from their eggshells.